We are discussing chapter 2, second order linear differential equation. The ultimate goal of this chapter is to develop a solution of a given differential equation in such a way that it represents all possible solution of the given differential equation. So we are talking about something called as the general solution to the given differential equation. Now, since it's a second order linearly differential equation, we are in the hunt of two solutions of the given differential equation whose linear combination would represent all the possible solution to the given differential equation. From the previous class we have seen that given a solution to the differential equation we have infinitely many solutions, but these two solutions which we are in search of are linearly independent solution. So in this session we will see the structure of the ultimate goal, that is to develop the general solution to the given differential equation. And to build the structures there are certain terms which we have to put in pictures. The first one is the very old and basic terminology in linear algebra, that is a linearly dependent and linearly independent term. So let us define this term. Now we are see this term was actually defined in a vector space, for a vector space. Now in this case we are dealing with the functions, with the solutions of a differential equation. So obviously the vector space in this case is the set of all functions, real valued function probably. So we will be defining this term for a functions. So the first term that we will define is linearly dependent and linearly independent. So the two functions y1 and y2 are said to be linearly dependent on an interval or on a set I of R if there are some constants C1 and C2 not both 0, such that their linear combination is, that is C1 y1 plus C2 y2 is equal to 0. So that's a very old and basic definition from the linear algebra. The two functions, here we are talking only about two functions. So two functions y1 and y2 are said to be linearly dependent on an interval or on a set I if there are constants C1 and C2 both not 0, but their linear combination is equal to 0. And when do we say that it is linearly independent? Exactly the contrast of the above definition, the contrary of the above definition. So they are linearly independent, if on I, if they are not linearly dependent. Basically what does that mean? Basically this means that whenever this C1 y1 plus C2 y2 equal to 0, that should implies that C1 and C2 have to be equal to 0. So that is C1 y1 plus C2 y2 is equal to 0 on I. This should implies that C1 is equal to C2 is equal to 0, and this is also because we are dealing with the functions, this is on I. Okay. So that's a definition of linearly dependent and independent of two functions. So let me quickly take two couple of illustrative example. The first one, consider y1 of x is equal to e raised to 2x and y2 of x is equal to e raised to 3x. The question is, are they linearly independent or linearly dependent on R? So in this case, the set I am choosing as the whole real line. So let me in fact I'll prove that these are linearly independent. So how do I proceed? Just look at the C1 e raised to 2x plus C2 e raised to 3x is equal to 0. Okay, and I'll prove that the only possibility for C1 and C2 are they equal to 0. So how do I prove it? I prove it by I'll call this as 1, and from this I cannot get any data, so I'll try to differentiate this. Differentiate 1 with respect to x. So what do I get? I get 2c1 e raised to 2x plus 3c2 e raised to 3x is equal to 0, and that's the second equation. So that in this way you get two equation, two simultaneous equations. So you can solve that by eliminating either C1 and C2 first. By eliminating C1, I get C2 into you try to solve this, e raised to 3x is equal to 0, and that says that C2 is equal to 0. You just have to solve this. Okay, so once C2 is equal to 0, put it anywhere over here, we get thus from the second equation I get 2c1 into e raised to 2x is equal to 0. That should definitely imply, okay, by the way, why this implies C2 is equal to 0? Because the exponential, that's a specialty of exponential, it is never equal to 0. Okay, so that's why C2 is equal to 0, and therefore from here again C1 is equal to 0, thus proving that y1 and y2 are linearly independent. Okay, so one exercise I can mention over here. One exercise for the student. Suppose let y1 of x be let y1 of x be not identically 0 on an interval I, show that this is in fact necessary and sufficient condition for a given two y1 and y2, given two function to be linearly dependent if one of them is non-zero. Show that the function y1 and y2 are linearly dependent if and only if one of them can be written as a scalar multiple of other. So if and only if y2 of x can be written as k into y1 of x, okay, for all x in I, okay, and for k being constant. So I would leave this as an exercise. You would try this, and assuming that this is true, we can proceed further, considering this as, because this is a very useful result in vector space, or in linear algebra. So we have the first theorem with the proof of this chapter. The statement of this theorem is theorem let function p and q be continuous on the interval I say close interval a comma b. The homogeneous differential equation, the homogeneous differential equation, it's very important that to note that we are talking only about the homogeneous differential equation in this theorem, and this is in fact a very important theorem. Equation L of y, as usual I want to write down this in terms of operator y double prime plus p into d, that is y prime plus q into y is equal to 0. Homogeneous means this, I'll call this as 1. Always possesses two linearly independent solution, two linearly independent solution, and this is a very important fact which we will be using throughout this course, because we are in search of two linearly independent solution to generate the general solution to the given differential equation. So first thing, we are going to prove that given any differential equation, second order differential equation which is linear and it is homogeneous, then it has two linearly independent solution. So the proof for this, we simply make use of the existence and uniqueness theorem, because in that case we talk about the initial value problem. So I'll talk about the same initial value problem with certain initial condition for a specific point on the set on an interval I. So the initial, let me directly start the initial value problem. I would tell you how I am proceeding through and what kind of initial value problem I am considering for what reason. So the initial value problem L of y is equal to 0 with the condition y of x naught is equal to 1, and y prime of x naught is equal to 0, where x naught is in I, has a unique solution, in I, say y1. I'll call the solution to be y1. I'm considering this as the initial value problem L of y equal to 0, equal to this condition y of x naught equal to 1, y prime of x naught equal to 0. The reason is that I am trying to generate two solutions which are linearly independent. So I am trying to get the solution through this initial value problem. So first solution I get from this initial value problem y1, and this result follows from the, if you want, I'll write down this result follows from the existence and uniqueness theorem, uniqueness theorem. So now again similarly the initial value problem, I'll just interchange the role of that the value of y of x naught and y prime of x naught. L of y is equal to 0, y of x naught is equal to 0, and y prime of x naught is equal to 1, has a unique solution say y2. So these are the two solutions which I have generated, and I will claim that this y1 and y2, I will prove that this y1 and y2 are solutions of are two linearly independent solution of the given differential equation. Okay. So we have two things now because of this first one, hence we have, I get two equation, L of y1 is equal to 0, y1 being solution, and it satisfies the initial condition. Y1 is a solution of the first one, so y1 of x naught is equal to 1 and y1 prime of x naught is equal to 0. I will call this as 1, and similarly L of y2 is equal to 0 with the condition that y2 of x naught is equal to 0 and y2 prime of x naught is equal to 1. So we have two solutions, thus we have two solution to the given equation. I will call this as 2. Thus we have two solutions y1 and y2 of the equation 1, of the given differential equation 1. Now I will prove that these are the required linearly independent solution to the given differential equation. So in this way I am constructing the initial value problem to get the two linearly independent solution to the given differential equation. So y1 and y2 are linearly independent on I. So to prove this, I will start with the expression C1 y1 plus C2 y2 equal to 0. So let C1 and C2 be any constant. Consider the expression C1 y1 plus C2 y2 equal to 0. So how do I prove from here that okay, this basically is true for all, okay, I can say y1 of x, y2 of x. So basically this is true for all x in y. So if this is true, then its derivative is also true, that is c1 y1 prime of x plus c2 y2 prime of x is also equal to 0 for all x in I. Okay. Yeah, since y1 and y2 are function, it has to be twice differentiable, so its first derivative exists. So this is true for all x in I, and x naught is one particular point I have taken from I. So in particular, if I put x naught to be equal to x naught to be equal to x to be equal to x naught, this should hold true. So in particular, x is equal to x naught, we get from the first equation I get c1 y1 of x naught plus c2 y2 of x naught is equal to 0, and from the second equation I get c1 y1 prime of x naught plus c2 y2 prime of x naught is equal to 0. And what is the value of so that is same as saying what is the value of y1 of x naught? Y1 of x naught is equal to 1 and y2 of x naught is equal to 0. So from here I get c1 into 1 plus c2 into 0 is equal to 0, and from here I get again it is reverse. So this is 0 plus this is equal to 1. So that's the reason I had chosen this as the initial values, because that gives us, see, from here I can say that c1 is equal to 0, and from here I can say that c2 is equal to 0. In fact, that in the initial value problem you can choose any other real number as well instead of 1. Here I have chosen 1. So if it was 2 also, in that case also I would have got c1 equal to 0, and here also I would have got c2 is equal to 0. Okay, and so that proves that y1 and y2 are two linearly independent solution of 1. So that's it for this class. In the next session we will be discussing the general solutions, Wronskian of the differential equation, two functions, and some properties of Wronskian. So thank you for watching this video and have a nice day ahead.